Hey everybody, welcome to the Luxury Sai Lounge. I am your host, Saida Brown, and I have some exciting things to share with you today. So first, this is actually episode 457, and it is the 7th episode of our 10th season. I need a bell. I think I had a bell. Remember I said I had a bell? I gotta get a bell. Somebody order me a bell and ship it to me, ship it to the studio. I so let me just give a little backspin about this really quickly, but let me just say this. Today's show, we're talking about The Harder They Fall, the most dynamic movie I've seen in a really long time. And then we're going to get into the luxury product of the day, which I just found is absolutely drool worthy. But I have to get into this whole number 457. And it's not that the number 457 is significant in and of itself. But what I've done is I launched my first podcast on June 26th, I'm sorry, of 2008. And it started out as Life Remixed Radio because in 2008 we were going through such uncertainty. And so the whole concept of the show was to rethink everything we knew about everything we knew and how to figure out how to progress. Obama was running for president. So my show got really, really political sometimes. We had Republicans, and I talked about the fall of Lehman Brothers, and so it was just really leading into more of a show that probably belonged on MSNBC. So we changed the title after the first 50 episodes. So each season of this show has 50 episodes. And so the show is 1 hour a day, every single day at 12 noon. So around the end, I would say, of the first season, which at that time I didn't even know what seasons were. I was just hopping on and recording content. And then of course, you go back and you're like, holy cow, how do we break this up so that it's in a digestible, organized way? And that's how we figured out we'll just do every season has 50 episodes. But anyway, at that point, around season 2, we changed the name to the Cy Brown Morning Show to better reflect what I was talking about every day. I was talking about some serious stuff: religion, faith, politics, our country, Obama. I did a good show, Obama's first 100 days. And the show just went really, really well. I'm proud. I'm proud. I'm proud. And so now I'm on a new platform. And with this new platform, I had to import and log and organize all the shows to make for a nice, seamless import. And that's when I realized today, after numbering them, this show today is actually 457 episodes. I don't even know what to say. I've got an episode of Kango from UTFO. So big shout out and prayers and love to him right now, who's recovering from surgery to remove cancer from his body. He's documenting it and chronicling it on Instagram. So please follow Yo Kango and send him prayers and love and well wishes. He's a very dear friend of the show, very dear friend of mine. So I have an episode with him. There's just some really great shows. But here's the rub. Back then, didn't really think about putting them on a server or filing them somewhere. So we don't have all of the shows. So that has been the task that was launched this week, to try to get the shows, to try to digitally remaster the shows that we have, and then get a hold of some of the shows where there are gaps. And one of the ones that's my most favorite, prized, and cherished show, not to put this guest over my others, but my interview with Tina Marie. And that interview, she sang on the show and she prayed and she talked about her relationship with Rick James. So send all of your energy up to the gods in heaven or to whatever deity you pray to, because I have to be able to get that show. It's just such a special, special episode. So we're working on getting all of the shows digitally remastered. So now with the technology that we have, they can easily be streamed up to Spotify and iTunes and any place you find your favorite podcast where you want to click, like, share, listen, download. I appreciate it. But it's just special to know that you just do the work. You just wake up every day and you just do the work. And then you finally take a step back And the breath that I realized I've recorded over 450 shows is a lot, especially in this day and age where podcasts really didn't come into the human consciousness until a couple of years ago. So this is documented, these shows. From my very first show was talking about Katy Perry's song "I Kissed a Girl," and so it was bizarre. But anyway, it was fun, but it was bizarre. But anyway, so that's enough about that. That this is show number 457, and it is the seventh show of the 10th season. I just can't believe it. So I think I'm gonna put like a little 10th season badge or something on our podcast cover art, just to really signify what an achievement this is for me and the whole team. Dewan, who's in Atlanta, who has done our openings. So he's just absolutely amazing. Love him, love him, love him. And so that's that. I want to get into our luxury product of the day, and then I really want to get into The Harder They Fall. This movie, it's going to be difficult. I had to actually write out in-depth show notes so that way I can talk about the movie without giving away spoilers, which is going to be a little tricky. But anyway, our luxury product of the day is Agnes Bethel Shoes. So I discovered Agnes Bethel, as you know, and I've been complaining and ranting on this, that I think Christmas is coming too soon. Christmas, the holidays, all of these things are happening too soon. We're only in the first week of November, fresh off of Halloween, and we're already, like, it seems, bypassing Thanksgiving and going straight to Christmas. Okay, so in the spirit of rushing or expanding the holiday season, I'm thinking like I need shoes for New Year's Eve. I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, who I'm doing it with. I don't know anything, but you just need a new pair of shoes for New Year's Eve. I think so, right? Doesn't everybody have to have a new pair of shoes for New Year's Eve? I don't know. I do. Just something special about welcoming in the new year with a new pair of shoes. So I discovered in my search, I had never heard of Agnes Bethel Shoes, and then I went to their IG feed. It is an African American husband and wife team, and I uncovered the Bianca and Argento heels. When I saw silver metallic and then silver glitter, I literally started, just, I was going to say something probably profane, but I just started oogling at my computer screen, because they're just amazing. And so if you look at my nails in any live that I do or any recording, at least two fingernails, either the tip or the whole nail or something, has silver glitter on it, because I just think glitter makes people happy. I think glitter is just happiness. It reminds me of unicorns and rainbows when I was like 9 years old. And that's just kind of a piece of innocence that I don't ever want to give up in this world that can be so cold sometimes. So yes, when I saw, and I just love metallics. I think metallics, no matter if it's this rose hue or a gold hue or a dusty gray hue metallic or even a silver metallic, I just think it looks phenomenal on nice chocolate skin. And so I just am so obsessed with anything metallic, metallic dresses, metallic clothes. Just sidebar, I just bought a asymmetrical off the shoulder combo long sleeve off the shoulder metallic shirt from Express. So you'll probably see me wear that this holiday season. It was just delivered today. But anyway, my luxury product of the day is Agnes Bethel Shoes. Check them out on IG. They are Agnes Bethel, Bethel. I hope I can get the husband and wife on the show to talk about their brand and why they started. As far as price points go, they are in the everything that I saw on the website is probably in the 350 to 500, 350 to 550 range. I would say 350 to 550. So these are a little bit of a treat. So if you're looking, if you have a special occasion coming up, I would just suggest take a look at their brand and take a look at some of their products. They have another pair of shoes. These I put on my IG. Oh my gracious. They're the Dorothy sandal. They are a leopard, but the leather is patent leather, and then it has red trimming. Oh my gosh. Their shoes are just so artfully and tastefully done. And so the beautiful thing about a good pair of shoes is that they feel like slippers. And I can see the way the craftsmanship has gone into this with the little wedge in the front, that they were so very thoughtful in how they designed the shoe. So your foot is not even totally on a slope. So I can only assume, I don't know where they're sold, I have to find them, but that there's an air of comfort to them. So just check out Agnes Bethel Shoes. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get my first pair. I am definitely going to order a pair, and when I do for New Year's Eve, I will let you know and I will let you see them. I'm so excited. My shoes last year were from Betsy Johnson, and they were again a silver glitter inside. The instep was open and they had very pointy with a bow. So I don't want to get the same thing this year, or something similar, but I'll let you know what I decide to get. So that is our luxury product of the day, Agnes Bethel Shoes. Yay. Now, let's get into the harder they fall. So let me just start with the fact that it's a Western. Let's just start. So I don't know how nostalgic you or what your memory is or how Westerns seep into your spirit. But I remember on Saturday, I remember we were one of the first families on the block to have cable. And the cable box at the time had like this little sliding thing that went across the top, and that's how you changed the channel. It was a horizontal box, and it had numbers, like pre-printed numbers, like I think it was like 2 to 50 or something like that. And to change the channel, you had to slide this little thing, this little notch, left and right. To the right to get to the higher numbers, to the left to get to the lower numbers. And if I was being really facetious, when my grandparents would say, come change the channel, I would just go zip to the other end. And then I would probably get yelled at really, really badly because they didn't spank me. But, just being a sassy person. But anyway, on Saturday, all the numbers to the right, which were the higher numbers on this cable box, is where my grandfather would watch his Westerns. And I remember just growing up on Saturday afternoon, we had a TV, a small TV in the kitchen, and a little bit larger TV in my grandparents' bedroom. And both of the TVs were set to the same Western. I never understood Westerns because I just saw gunslinging, but you never really saw blood or anything. You just saw cowboys and gunslings, and my grandfather just loved Westerns. And so I just wanted to kind of get into the spirit of my grandfather when I watched this, just to try to uncover and see perhaps what his fascination was with Westerns. And so when I saw The Harder They Fall was coming out, I just knew immediately I had to watch it. I watched it yesterday, and then I watched bits of it again today just so I could get ready for, my commentary and my review tonight. So let me just say this. This is the first thing, one of the first things that flashes upon the screen, and I promise I won't give spoilers, so this is going to kind of be a short review, other than my pure zeal and excitement for this movie, is that these people existed. So what I did today is I started to do a deep dive into who Rufus Buck was, which is Idris Elba's character, this truly pure badass, and just the angles that the director approached his character. I always felt we were kind of looking up at him, which gave him a bigger, larger than life presence. I mean, he's just this big, bold looking, beautiful black man anyway, these broad shoulders. But the way they directed the angle, it just made him look so badass in every single scene. And all I kept thinking about is, that's Stringer Bell. Remember from The Wire? I'm like, so a couple of times I had to take myself, I had to kind of snap myself out of it, because I felt like in the real close-ups of him, he was speaking with this drawl, this menacing tone, and it just harkened back to Stringer Bell when he was on The Wire, which we know ended in his demise. But I just kind of felt a little Stringer Bellish, that I was looking at Stringer Bell a couple of times through the movie. But anyway, the opening sequence says right across the screen, you can't miss it. It just says these people existed. So that immediately sets the tone. Even though the story is fictional, It's letting you know that these people are real. And so in my research today, because I never had a reason to research westerns or characters or anything like that, I realized that in my research that Rufus Buck was a real person, was a real outlaw. And I put outlaw in quotes because they pride themselves, the Rufus Buck gang prides itself in being outlaws in the movie. So he was a real person. One of the things that I learned that is contradicted in the storyline is that Rufus Buck was actually in his early 20s and he was hanged. Um, I don't like, again, I don't want to tell too much. I want you to do some of your own research. But anyway, so there are some areas where they really had to embellish to make for a good movie. But to find out that Rufus Buck was a real person, he was a real badass, he was an outlaw, was just so fascinating that there's this whole piece of history that I never can recall. I cannot recall ever seeing anybody Black in any of the Westerns that my grandfather watched. So take it for what it's worth. There is now, there's been a couple other ones, but this is a really good one. But anyway, let me just get into what I really, really think about the movie and my takeaways from the movie. And then I'm hoping that you actually take the time to watch it and rewatch it, because there's some really deep moments, and there's some intense significance as it relates to who we are as a people in our relationship with white people. And I'll just leave it at that. And when you get to the scene where they're going to rob a bank, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. I think the biggest piece, aside from some of the blood and gore, is that there's representation. But I want to say that there's blood and gore with a caveat, because I'm not into blood and gore at all. Don't like it, don't want to see it. So when I saw the opening sequence of the movie, I was like, oh God, I hope I can make it through the next 2 hours and 20 minutes, because it is a long movie. It reminded me of like a Spike Lee joint, no pun intended. That it's long. It's not your typical hour and well, movies are like an hour and 40 minutes, or you have a running time of just under 2 hours. This is well over 2 hours. I think the actual running time is like 2 hours and 20 minutes. And so in that opening sequence, in like the first, I want to say like 7 or 8 minutes, there's such a suspense. And then something happens. And then I was like, oh God, I hope this whole movie is not like this. And it's not. It is, but it isn't. It is a Western. There's a lot of people getting shot. But thankfully, the director and the team that produced the movie did not make it so gory that makes it unwatchable for people like me that are not fans of blood and gore. The Harder They Fall has merit on the story, how we appear, even though both gangs, the Nat Love gang and the Rufus Buck gang, are rivals, there's still a humanity and there's still this storyline between them that resonated with me. I mean, and I'm not even an outlaw, wasn't even born in 1895, but there's a spirit, an air of humanity. There's love, there's a love interest that touches on their soul, that makes them human and kind of lets the viewer inside their psyche. One thing I love about this movie is that there is not blatant sex. There are scenes in the film that allude to intimacy, but you just don't see it, or it never happens. And so I'm really, really thankful for that, because I did not want to watch a movie that takes you on this wild ride from east to west coast, from North Pole to South Pole, of emotions and feelings. That's not what I wanted to take away, and I didn't take that away. There were these nods to overt sexuality when they go into the saloon, where you're drawn into the scene like a temptress. You just want to see more, and it's so artfully done, and artfully and seductively done, and there's no sex. So I love that. The costumes are phenomenal. So let me just say this. I read a whole lot of reviews today just to see what other people are saying, And there was a scathing review. I will not even give that person the credit to say who said it, and said the costumes, just went on and on about the costumes and the wardrobe. And I was just like, this person is just pissed because it was all black people, and I'll just leave it at that. But they said that the costumes didn't look old or worn enough. And so I didn't know how to take that. Did you want it to look like these people wore rags like orphan Annies or something throughout the whole movie? I think the leather, the suedes, the natural textures that were used for the costumes were pitch perfect. They were absolutely perfect, because don't forget, they're outlaws. So they are the better of the rest of the people that are in the movie. So yes, Delroy Lindo plays a sheriff who knocks that role out of the park. I mean, he just, if you remember, he was in Malcolm X. He played in the movie Malcolm X. I mean, he's just been in so many things. But I just recently watched Malcolm X, and I remember he was in that movie. He killed that role as well. But you know, he plays the sheriff, and the sheriff has this overcoat, and he has leather cuffs. Just the, you know, just the cuff of the overcoat is leather. I mean, you're this is a time when there's stagecoaches and horses, and so when you see something like that, that's just a little nod that they live better than the rest in the movie. So to say that the wardrobe was not on point, you're just sour grapes and you're just shady. Let me say, Regina, ooh, she was on fire in this movie. Her accent was perfect. She was menacing. Regina King is just so fly and just so talented. I mean, I remember her on 227, as probably most of us do, but she just played this role as the villainous. And I don't want to say the sidekick, because she actually corrects somebody when they say go get your boss, and they're talking about Idris Elba's character Rufus, and she corrects him like, wait, hold up, that's not how this works. But she was just outstanding. She was just really outstanding. And to all of the other people, I know I have not even gone into Nat Love, who's Jonathan Majors, who plays Nat Love. I mean, he is just on fire in Hollywood right now. He plays his bandit, and he plays it to a T. I can't even imagine who could have played this role better. It was just, you know, he has a wider nose, just his characteristics. And I'm mentioning the nose because he's going to have something done to his face. I'll just leave that at that. And it just works. His face just works for this role. His skin tone, I love the fact that they're chocolate and melanated actors used in this movie. That part is just fantastic. I will say this, it is definitely not Will Smith's Wild Wild West. We remember that. We remember that. And then the theme song with Cool Mo D. This is definitely not the Wild Wild West. This is something that you can watch. I watched more of it again today, and I just feel like I'm hoping this movie was produced by Jay-Z. It's the only post on his Instagram account. I just I just hope that it begins to stretch where Hollywood, and I put Hollywood in quotes, thinks the stories for people of color can go. I come from the era where we had State Property, Belly, what were some of the other ones? Paper Soldiers, when the likes of Damon Dash and Hype Williams were starting to do these long form music videos, and then that led to us just a little short window in hip hop where we were making our own movies, we were making our own clothes. I hope we get to a place where this next generation of entrepreneurs can lean on that, and that it gets the funding that it needs to bring movies like The Harder They Fall to the screen. So I feel like this is such a worthwhile movie. It should not take a back seat to any other Western. It should not be a Western with an asterisk because it has a black cast. It is not devoid of meaning. These are, again, I open this, that these are real people, even though the story is embellished just for the sake of moviedom. But these are real people that are part of Black history and Black culture in America. And I'm just proud of the entire team. And I have everybody's cast who's in it and things like that on my blog, luxurysai.com. But I just hope that everybody watches it, that they love it as much as I do, and that it gets the reviews that warrant more money, funding, more money to the line items of budgets for directors of color and actors and actresses of color to make movies like this. So I feel like this is a deliberate step forward for representation of our Black figures, our Black cowboys, just Blacks in general, in society. And critical race theory notwithstanding, white people need to see this so you can stop trying to erase us out of American history. And on that note, I will see you next episode. Always remember, we shall pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that we can do, or any kindness that we can show to any human being, let us do it now. Let us not defer or neglect it, for we shall not pass this way again. Please, if you like this episode, go on to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and rate and review it. And if you go to anchor.fm/luxury Sai, you can actually leave me a voice message in response to this episode. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in our next episode.